My name is Dr. Victor Hohenheim, or perhaps I should say it was. I don't know how much time I have left before something finds me here, in this dark place where I'm hiding. I'm writing this because someone needs to know the truth. Someone has to know what happened at Area 51. What we did. What we unleashed. It all began 2 years ago, on a night I will never forget. Reports came in about strange fragments found in the Nevada desert after an unusual electrical storm. The lightning sliced through the sky like green blades, illuminating the ground with a sickly glow. Civilian authorities thought it was just another bizarre meteorological phenomenon, but we knew better. When my team arrived at the crash site, we found something that shouldn't exist. It was small, the size of a coin. It looked like a black, translucent crystal, pulsing faintly, as if it had a life of its own. But it wasn't solid like glass or stone. There was something fluid inside it, something that seemed to move when you glanced at it. No one knew what it was. We brought it to Area 51, where secrets are kept and dissected until nothing remains but unanswered questions. I was the head of the extraterrestrial biology team, and my job was to understand its origin, composition, purpose. But now I understand all too well, and it haunts me. At first, it seemed harmless. A small, inert object, almost beautiful in its alien strangeness. We called it the seed. That was our first mistake. Naming it made it seem tame, something we could control. But that thing, it wasn't just an artifact. It was alive, and it was waiting. The tests began immediately. Scans, chemical analyses, exposure to different environmental conditions. The seed remained inert, as if it were dead. But then, something changed. During a routine experiment, we exposed the seed to a specific combination of radiation and heat. It didn't just react, it awoke. The black surface began to crack, releasing a viscous, oily substance that spread across the lab like a living pool. The moment that substance touched the air, we felt something impossible to describe, a cold that came from within, as if our very bones were being drained by an invisible presence. But the worst was yet to come. One of the lab technicians, a young man named Ryan, was exposed to the substance. He believed it was safe, that he could touch it without issue. When the thing adhered to his skin, he screamed. He screamed in a way I've never heard anyone scream before. His eyes rolled back as his body convulsed. We tried to help him, but it was too late. The substance was already inside him. In the days that followed, Ryan seemed normal. We all thought he had escaped unscathed, but I should have noticed the signs. He began acting strangely, distant, as if listening to voices no one else could hear. Then, one night he disappeared. We found his body the next day, but it wasn't Ryan anymore. His skin was stretched tight, covered in pulsing black veins as if they were part of something larger. His eyes were completely black, like endless pools of oil, and inside his chest, something was growing. That was only the beginning. Whatever was inside, Ryan began to spread. He wasn't alone. Other members of the team started showing the same symptoms: erratic behavior, hallucinations, seizures. And then, they began to change. Each of them carried something inside them, something that grew slowly, feeding off their bodies like giant parasites. I've seen things no human being should ever see. I saw a man tear his own flesh off with his fingernails, trying to extract whatever was growing inside him. I saw another whose entire body dissolved into a pulsating black mass that split into hundreds of tiny larvae crawling across the floor. They were no longer human. They were incubators for something far greater, far worse. Now, as I write these words, I know I'm being watched. I can feel it. A constant pressure in the air, as if something is patiently waiting on the other side of the door. I no longer sleep. I can't. Every time I close my eyes, I see those things. Those creatures that sprout from the shadows, that grow inside us like weeds in a devastated field. They're coming. They've always been coming. If you're reading this, run. Run while you still can, because when they find you, it will be too late. I don't know how long I've been down here. Days, weeks, Time has lost all meaning. The bunker is cold, damp, and suffocating, but it's safer than being out there. Out there, they're growing, spreading, consuming everything in their path. After Ryan changed, the facility descended into chaos. At first, we thought it was an isolated incident, some freak reaction to the alien substance. But then others started showing symptoms. It began subtly. A cough here, a bruise there. Then came the black veins, spreading like cracks in porcelain across their skin. By the time we realized what was happening, it was too late. They weren't just dying, they were transforming. One by one, my colleagues fell victim to the infection. Some tried to fight it, locking themselves in labs or quarantine rooms, but it didn't matter. The growth inside them was relentless. I watched as Dr. Eliza Monroe, brilliant, fearless Eliza, collapsed in the middle of the cafeteria, her body convulsing violently. We rushed to help her, but within minutes her skin split open, revealing something beneath that defied every law of biology. Her screams echoed through the halls, and then silence. When we approached her body, it wasn't hers anymore. It had become something else entirely. A pulsating mass of tendrils and flesh, writhing on the floor like a living tumor. The worst part wasn't the physical transformation, it was the psychological toll. Those who were infected didn't just lose their bodies, they lost their minds. They spoke in languages none of us recognized, their voices layered with others, as if multiple entities were speaking through them. They clawed at their own faces, trying to tear away whatever was inside. And when they finally succumbed, their bodies would burst open, releasing more of the alien substance. Each death was a seed, planting the infection deeper into the facility. We tried everything to stop it. Fire, chemicals, even amputation for those in the early stages of infection. Nothing worked. The substance adapted, evolving faster than we could comprehend. It was as if it understood us, learning from every attempt we made to destroy it. And then it started using us against each other. I remember the night it truly hit me how hopeless our situation was. A group of soldiers stationed at the base decided to take matters into their own hands. Armed with flamethrowers and machetes, they stormed the labs, determined to burn everything, infected and uninfected alike. I hid in the ventilation system, listening to the screams as they torched the corridors. For a moment, I thought they might succeed, but then I heard it. A low guttural sound, like the earth itself groaning in pain. The lights flickered, and the air grew thick, almost suffocating. One by one, the soldiers fell silent. When I finally crawled out of hiding, I found only charred remains, and something new. The infected weren't just human-shaped monstrosities anymore. They had fused together, forming something larger, something incomprehensible. Limbs twisted into grotesque shapes, eyes multiplied across surfaces that shouldn't have been able to see. It moved slowly, deliberately, as if savoring its newfound form. That's when I realized. This wasn't just an invasion. It was a life cycle. Every infected person was a host, a cocoon for something far worse. And now, those cocoons were hatching. I managed to escape during the confusion, retreating to this bunker deep beneath the facility. It's supposed to be a fail-safe, a last resort in case of catastrophic containment failure. But even here, I'm not safe. The walls seem to hum faintly, vibrating with an energy I can't explain. Shadows move where there should be none, and sometimes in the quiet moments, I hear whispers. They're faint, distorted, but unmistakably intelligent. They're watching me. Waiting. Every day, I tell myself I need to leave, to find help, or warn the outside world. But I know the truth. It's already too late. The infection isn't confined to the facility. Reports started coming in before communications went dark. Strange illnesses, unexplained disappearances, entire towns vanishing overnight. Whatever. These things they're spreading beyond the walls of Area 51. And they won't stop until there's nothing left to consume. But there's something else. Something I haven't told you yet. In the final days before I fled, I discovered something in the lab archives. Documents. Classified beyond anything I'd ever seen. They weren't just studying the sementes, they were cultivating them, experimenting, pushing them to evolve faster, stronger, more adaptable. Someone wanted this to happen. Someone planned it, Whoever they are, they've doomed us all. I don't know why I keep writing this. Maybe it's because if I stop, I'll have to face the truth. That there's no escape. That I'm just another cog in their machine, another cell in their endless devouring organism. Or maybe it's because deep down, some part of me still clings to the hope that someone, somewhere, will read this and understand what's coming. But understanding won't save them. Nothing will. The bunker feels smaller now. The walls press in on me, like they're alive and hungry. Sometimes I see things moving in the corners of my vision. Shapes that shouldn't exist. Forms that twist and writhe before vanishing. I tell myself it's exhaustion, paranoia, but I know better. They're here. Not fully formed yet, but close enough. Close enough to watch, to wait. Before I locked myself down here, I saw things no human should ever witness. Things that shattered my understanding of life, death, and everything in between. After the soldiers fell, after the facility was overrun, the infection didn't stop. It evolved. The individual hosts began merging, not just physically, but mentally. Their bodies fused into grotesque amalgamations, towering masses of flesh and bone writhing with tendrils and eyes and mouths that never stopped screaming. But it wasn't chaos. It was purposeful, organized, like they were building something. I call it the hive. It started in the central lab, where the original Semente was kept. The infected dragged whatever was left of the staff, alive or dead, into the containment chamber. At first, I thought it was some kind of feeding frenzy, but it wasn't. They were constructing. Layer by layer, they built a structure unlike anything I'd ever seen, organic and mechanical at the same time, pulsating with the same sickly green light that had lit up the sky during the storm. It grew faster than anything natural could, consuming everything around it, metal, concrete, even air. Within hours, the entire facility was swallowed by it, and then it spoke, not with words, not exactly. It was more like a vibration, a resonance that bypassed your ears and went straight into your mind. It felt ancient, vast, incomprehensible. When it touched my thoughts, I saw things. Visions of worlds consumed, civilizations reduced to ash, oceans boiling away under alien suns. It wasn't just an organism, it was a force, a cycle, a predator designed to consume entire planets, and Earth was next. That's when I ran. I don't remember much about those final moments in the facility. Just flashes, blood on the walls, shadows moving too quickly. The sound of bones cracking as they reshaped themselves into something new. I grabbed what supplies I could and fled to the bunker, sealing the door behind me. But the hive isn't contained by walls. It's not bound by physics or logic. It's everywhere now. In the air, in the ground, in us. I've been studying the documents I found in the archives. They're fragments, mostly redacted, but enough to piece together the truth. Whoever authorized the experiments on the Sementes knew exactly what they were doing. They weren't trying to contain the infection. They were accelerating it, testing its limits, pushing it to evolve faster. And worst of all, they succeeded. The hive isn't just an accident. It's the result of decades of research, manipulation, and experimentation. Someone wanted this. Someone planned for humanity to be erased. But why? Why would anyone unleash something like this on their own species? The answer is buried in the files, hidden beneath layers of code and encryption. I've spent every waking moment trying to decipher them, and what I've uncovered so far makes my blood run cold. The Sementes aren't just alien parasites, they're seeds. Seeds of a greater intelligence, a cosmic entity that exists beyond our dimension. An entity that sees us as nothing more than food, a resource to be harvested and discarded. And we helped it. We nurtured it. We gave it the perfect environment to grow. The whispers are louder now, constant. They fill the silence of the bunker, overlapping voices speaking in languages I can't comprehend. Sometimes they sound almost human, like echoes of people I once knew. Other times, they're guttural, animalistic, inhuman, but they always carry the same message. Join us. Become one. Feed the cycle. I've tried ignoring them, but it's impossible. They seep into your mind, burrowing deeper with every passing hour. Last night, I woke up to find scratches on my arms, long, thin cuts that I don't remember making. My reflection in the mirror looks wrong, distorted, like something's wearing my skin. I think it's inside me now, growing, waiting for the right moment to take over. There's one thing I haven't told you yet, something I discovered in the deepest levels of the archives. Beneath all the classified files and encrypted data, there was a single image, a photograph taken decades ago, long before I joined the project. It shows a group of scientists standing in front of a massive crater in the desert. In the center of the crater lies a black crystal, identical to the cemente that started all of this. Except this one is cracked open, split apart like an egg. And surrounding it are figures, humanoid shapes, but wrong, twisted. Their faces are blank, featureless, but their bodies are covered in the same black veins that marked the infected in the facility. The caption beneath the photo reads, "Harvest Protocol Initiated." Whatever this is, it's been happening for a long time. Longer than any of us realized. The hive isn't the beginning, it's the end. The culmination of a plan set in motion years ago, maybe centuries. And now, it's unstoppable. I don't know how much longer I can hold out. The whispers are getting louder, more insistent. My body feels heavier, slower, like it's not mine anymore. I catch glimpses of myself in the dark, and sometimes I swear I see something else staring back. Something with too many eyes. If you're reading this, if you've somehow survived long enough to find these words, don't look for answers. Don't try to fight it. There's nothing you can do. The cycle has already begun, and soon, everything you know will be gone. Consumed, reborn. All that will remain is the hive. I can feel it now, crawling under my skin, writhing, burrowing. It's not just in my mind. It's real. Tangible. I claw at my arms until they bleed, but it doesn't stop. The sensation is relentless, like thousands of tiny insects feasting on my flesh from the inside out. My veins pulse black beneath my skin, spreading like cracks in porcelain. I know what's happening. I've seen it before. In Ryan, in Eliza, in everyone else who fell. And now it's happening to me. But this isn't about me anymore. Not really. This is bigger than one man, bigger than humanity itself. What we unleashed isn't just a parasite or a predator. It's a god. A void wrapped in flesh. Hunger given form. And it's awake. The whispers have become screams. Endless. Overlapping howls that echo in my skull, drowning out coherent thought. They aren't random noises. They're instructions. Commands. Fragments of something vast and incomprehensible trying to communicate through me. Sometimes I catch glimpses of what it wants. Visions flash behind my eyes, unbidden and unstoppable. Oceans boiling away into vapor, forests reduced to ash, cities crumbling as the sky turns green and splits open like rotting fruit. And then, silence. A void so profound it feels like the universe itself has been erased. That's its goal. Its purpose. To consume everything, matter, energy, life, and leave nothing behind. It calls itself Evora. At least that's the closest translation my fractured mind can grasp. It doesn't speak in words, not truly. Its language exists beyond sound, beyond meaning. It invades your thoughts, reshaping them into shapes and colors and sensations that defy comprehension. When it touches you, you don't hear it. You feel it. Like standing on the edge of an infinite abyss, knowing that if you fall, you'll never hit bottom. But worse than the fear is the awe. The overwhelming sense of insignificance. Compared to Evora, we are less than ants, less than dust. We are nothing. And yet, it needs us. Not because we're special, but because we're fuel. Biomass. Energy. To sustain its endless hunger. The hive isn't just a structure. It's a factory, churning out more of the infection with every passing second. Each infected body becomes a node in its network, a piece of its consciousness. Together, they form something greater than the sum of its parts. A living organism spanning miles, consuming everything in its path. The facility is gone now. swallowed whole by the hive. All that remains is a pulsating mass of flesh and bone and sinew, growing larger with each heartbeat. I tried to fight it once, back when I still had hope, back when I still believed in survival. I armed myself with whatever tools I could find, knives, fire, chemicals, and ventured into the tunnels connecting the bunker to the surface. The air was thick with the stench of decay, sweet and metallic, like blood left to rot in the sun. Every step felt heavier than the last, as if gravity itself was conspiring against me. Shadows moved in the periphery of my vision, shifting too quickly to track. I told myself it was paranoia, hallucinations brought on by exhaustion and fear. Then I saw them. They weren't human anymore, not even remotely. Their bodies had fused together, forming grotesque hybrids of flesh and machinery. Limbs elongated into razor-sharp claws, faces stretched into featureless masks dotted with rows of jagged teeth. Some still wore scraps of clothing, remnants of who they used to be. But their eyes were wrong. Too many of them scattered across their bodies like tumors. They glowed faintly, casting an eerie green light that illuminated the tunnel. And they watched me. Always watching. I froze, unable to move, as one of them stepped forward. Its movements were jerky, unnatural, like marionettes controlled by unseen hands. It tilted its head, studying me with those unnatural eyes, and then it opened its mouth. No sound came out. Not at first. But then the vibrations hit me, resonating through my bones, bypassing my ears entirely. It wasn't speaking. It was broadcasting. A flood of images poured into my mind, overwhelming and chaotic. Planets consumed, stars extinguished, galaxies collapsing into darkness. And beneath it all, a single message, repeated over and over. You are food. I ran. I don't remember much after that. Just flashes of movement, the sound of claws scraping against metal, the taste of bile rising in my throat. Somehow, I made it back to the bunker. I sealed the door behind me and collapsed, sobbing, as the realization hit me. There's no escape. Not from this. Not from it. The hive isn't confined to the facility. It's everywhere now. In the ground, in the air, in every breath I take. Even here, in this underground tomb, I'm not safe. But the worst part, the part that haunts me most, isn't the physical transformation or the endless screaming in my head. It's the memories. Or rather, the absence of them. Pieces of my past are disappearing, fading away like smoke in the wind. I can't remember my childhood, my parents' faces, the sound of laughter. All that's left are fragments, echoes, of a life I no longer recognize. And in their place, new memories are forming. Memories that aren't mine. Scenes of worlds I've never visited, creatures I've never seen, civilizations I've never known. They belong to Evera. It's feeding me its history, rewriting my identity, erasing Victor Hohenheim, and replacing him with something else, something alien. Last night, I woke up covered in sweat, gasping for air. My hands were pressed against the wall, but they didn't feel like my own. They were longer, thinner, tipped with sharp nails that dug into the concrete. My reflection in the mirror confirmed my worst fears. My face is changing. My skin is pale, almost translucent, stretched tight over my skull. My eyes are darker, deeper, ringed with black veins that pulse faintly in the dim light. And my mouth is filled with rows of needle-like teeth, gnashing together as if eager to tear into flesh. I screamed. I screamed until my voice gave out, until my throat burned and my lungs ached. But the thing staring back at me didn't flinch. It just smiled, a wide, unnatural grin that split its face in half. That's when I realized I'm not alone in here. Whatever's growing inside me isn't waiting anymore. It's taking control. There's one final truth I need to share, though I barely understand it myself. The documents in the archives weren't just records of experiments. They were blueprints, instructions for summoning Evera, for preparing Earth for its arrival. Someone knew this would happen. Someone planned it. But it wasn't just humans involved. There were others. entities older than time, beings that exist outside our reality. They guided us, manipulated us, used us as tools to bring their master into our world. And now, their work is complete. Evora isn't just consuming us, it's birthing itself, using our bodies, our minds, our planet as raw material to create something new, something unimaginable. By the time it's done, there won't be anything left of Earth, or of us, just Evora, eternal and insatiable. If you're reading this, if you've somehow survived long enough to hear my warning, don't bother fighting, don't bother running. It's already inside you, inside everything. You can't kill it, you can't stop it. All you can do is wait and scream, because soon, very soon, the devouring will begin. I don't know how much time I have left. My hands tremble as I write these words, but it isn't fear that makes them shake. It's something inside me, something growing and spreading like an insatiable cancer. My fingers leave black streaks on the pages of this notebook, viscous, ink-like smears that seem to pulse faintly under the dim light. The substance is everywhere now. In the walls, in the floor, in my very bones. There is no escape. There never was. Now I understand. Truly understand. Everything that came before was just a prelude, a rehearsal for the real end. What we called the hive, what we named Evora, was only the tip of an infinite iceberg, a microscopic fraction of something that transcends our universe. We are nothing compared to it. Absolutely nothing. Memories continue to fade, fragments of who I was being erased like dust blown away by the wind. I can barely remember my name now. Victor. Yes, that was my name. Was. The syllables sound strange, distant, as if they belonged to someone else. Another life. With each passing minute, I am replaced. Whatever is growing inside me is taking control gradually, rewriting my mind, my soul, my essence. I am an empty husk, a shell about to be discarded. But this isn't death. Not exactly. It's something worse. Death would be merciful. This is transformation. A forced, agonizing metamorphosis where every cell in my body screams silently, as it is reconfigured to serve a purpose alien to my understanding. My reflection in the mirror is no longer human. I can barely recognize the thing staring back at me. The skin stretched too tight, almost translucent, revealing the alien shapes moving beneath it. Black veins run across my body like rivers of oil, pulsing in erratic rhythms. My eyes. God. My eyes. They are bottomless black pits, filled with spinning stars that whirl and whirl until I can barely distinguish reality from delusion. And when I open my mouth, the teeth are needles, sharp and serrated, designed to tear flesh and bone like paper. Still, I write. I write because it's all I have left. Maybe it's pathetic, maybe it's useless, but I need to document this. I need to try to capture the horror in words, even though I know they'll never be enough. No human language can describe what I'm living through now. Words are limited, confined to three-dimensional constructs that our primitive minds can comprehend. But what we face here is beyond. Beyond space, beyond time, beyond causality. It is the absolute abyss. The screams are constant now. Not just in my head, but outside of it too. They echo off the bunker walls, vibrating in the air like sound. Waves that warp reality itself. Sometimes, I think I can discern words in the chaos of noise, but they shift depending on how I interpret them. One moment, they seem to beg for mercy. The next, they command me to surrender. Surrender to what? To the void? To the cycle? To Evora itself? And then there are the physical sounds. The sounds coming from me. Gurgles, cracks, creaks. As if my body is being disassembled and reassembled piece by piece into something new, something indescribable. When I look down, I see protrusions swelling under my skin, bulging and throbbing before bursting in jets of black liquid. Each burst releases more of that viscous substance, spreading across the floor like a living puddle. It moves, crawls, searching for something. Other bodies to infect, other minds to consume. I try not to think about what happened to the others. to Ryan, to Eliza, to everyone who came before me. But the images return unbidden, invading my mind, like waking nightmares. I see their faces, twisted in agony, as their human forms melted and reformed into grotesque abominations. Their voices still echo in the depths of the hive, mingled with the screams of the new hosts. They are no longer individuals. They are parts of something greater, pieces of a collective organism that grows with every passing second. And soon, very soon, I will be part of it too. But there's something more. Something I haven't told you yet. Something I discovered in the last few hours, as my sanity began to unravel completely. I found another file in the classified documents. A file that shouldn't exist. It was hidden behind layers of encryption so deep that even the most advanced systems at Area 51 couldn't easily access it. But the hive helped, or rather what's left of me helped. My mind, connected to the collective consciousness of the infection, unlocked the file effortlessly. Inside it, there was only one sentence, a single sentence that froze the blood in my veins. Evolution is not linear. It seemed simple, almost banal. But then, the implications began to seep into my mind slowly, like poison diluted in water. Evolution is not linear. That means everything we thought we knew about progress, growth, adaptation, is wrong. Everything. From Darwin to modern, scientists all interpreted the world through human lenses, shaping theories that fit within our limited three-dimensional perspectives. But what we face here doesn't follow those rules. It doesn't follow any rules. It is something different, something ancient, something that has always existed, watching and waiting since the beginning of time. Evora is not just a parasite or a predator. It is a catalyst, a cosmic engine of transformation that operates on incomprehensible scales. It doesn't devour planets randomly. It rewrites them. Rewrites matter, energy, the very underlying fabric of reality. Every time it comes into contact with a new biosphere, it reconfigures its fundamental code, adapting it to fulfill a single purpose: to feed something greater, something that lies beyond the known universe. And us? We are mere building blocks, pieces of an infinite mosaic that will never be completed. Our DNA, our culture, our history, all will be absorbed and repurposed, transformed into fuel for the next cycle. There is no escape, no resistance. We are irrelevant. This is the most terrible truth of all. It doesn't matter what we do. It doesn't matter how loudly we scream or fight. We cannot stop it. Because this isn't an invasion. It's not an attack. It's an inevitability. A natural force as relentless as gravity or entropy. Evora doesn't hate humanity. It feels nothing for us. To it, we are less than ants crushed underfoot on a sidewalk. We are not worthy of disdain. And now, it is complete. I feel it in the vibration of the air, in the trembling of the walls, in the constant pulsing that resonates in my bones. The hive has reached its final goal. Its organic mass has expanded to cover square kilometers, swallowing entire cities in its insatiable hunger. Its central core, the pulsating heart of Evora, throbs with a bright green light, radiating pure energy that distorts reality around it. The sky above is torn, ripped apart like rotten fabric, revealing something impossible. Impossible geometric shapes spin and collide. Gigantic creatures made of shadow and light extend limbs that have no right to exist. Stars explode in silence. Galaxies collapse in on themselves, all while Evora watches, impassive, assessing the work that remains to be done. I know it's the end. Not just for me, but for everything. For planet Earth, for the human race, for everything we know and love. Within a few hours, perhaps minutes, Evora will initiate the final phase of its cycle. It will open portals between dimensions, allowing other entities to enter our universe. Beings that make Evora seem benign in comparison. They will come, not just to consume, but to reshape, to transform the cosmos into something that serves purposes we will never comprehend. And then, when it's all over, when every atom of matter and every quantum of energy has been processed, they will leave. Behind them, they will leave only emptiness, an absolute silence that will echo forever. But I am still here. For now, trapped in this nauseating limbo between life and death, humanity and monster. Part of me wishes it would end already, that I would succumb completely to the transformation and lose whatever remains of my consciousness. It would be a mercy. Yet another part of me, a small, fragile part, still cries out for meaning, for purpose. I want to believe that my words matter, that documenting this somehow makes the horror more bearable. But I know it's a lie. No one will read this. No one will escape. Even if someone finds this notebook, it will be too late. The cycle will already have begun. Now, as I write these final lines, I feel something happening inside me. A final, irreversible change. My back curves, my arms elongate, my skin dissolves into black vapor. I can feel my mind fragmenting, split between two states of existence. Half of me is still human, still yearning for freedom, for hope. The other half, well, the other half belongs to Evora now. My thoughts are dissolving. Images flash in my mind like fever dreams, worlds burning, oceans evaporating, civilizations screaming as they are reduced to ash. I see the faces of people I've known, colleagues, friends, family, their eyes filled with terror as their bodies merge with the hive. They call to me, beg for help, but I cannot save them. No one can. Finally, I see Earth from space, suspended, in the vastness of the void. It is beautiful, even in its final moments. Blue oceans, green forests, white clouds spinning slowly. But then the hive emerges, enveloping the planet like a black web, growing, consuming, devouring, until nothing remains but darkness, and in the center of that darkness, a presence, immense, infinite, watching, waiting. I am no longer human. I'm no longer anything. If you're reading this, know that it's already too late. Evora has already arrived. It has already begun. And you are already part of it.